everybody, it's Calxiyn here, and if you guys enjoy this video, you guys should become patrons over on Patreon to support the channel and join our Discord server to talk with us more. So today I wanted to make a KH3 prediction because during the Kingdom Hearts event, Nomura sort of said something, and I read an article about it that sort of like struck me to come up with this idea, you could say. And I don't think I'm the only one, so I think that we all had a collective, or maybe some of us had a collective shared sentiment. Nomura basically said that the ending of KH3 will be, like, hard for us to swallow, so to speak. And so that got me thinking, and if you guys have watched my videos before, you'll know that's never good. But I was thinking, like, in my gut, the first thing that I thought of was like, oh no, Riku is gonna die. And you guys may be like, what? If you're not one of the people that sort of thought that, because I was talking with one of my friends about it, and immediately I was just like, you know, we should make a bet, is Riku gonna die? And they were just like, almost like, shit, is he? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we both had that sort of shared thought, and so I thought that this would be super interesting to sort of talk about, because I don't necessarily have, like, hard evidence. Like, I wouldn't call this a theory, it's just sort of, like, first, like, it's just a very much a gut feeling I have, but I think that I kind of want to explain why they may do this, if that makes sense. So first of all, I think that Riku's sort of entire arc has led up for him to sacrifice himself for Sora. Like, he's one of the best developed characters in the series. I would say he's even the best developed character in the series, and I'd sort of like to, like, paint a picture of his journey to kind of see what we're getting into here if they decide to kill him. You know, like, Riku's been Sora's best friend since they were at least 5, right? Because that's how old they are in Birth by Sleep, which is even longer than Kairi. You know, they went on adventures exploring the island together as kids. You know, obviously their families seem to be close if, you know, they're, boating Sora and Riku all over the place to, like, explore and whatever. And then, of course, in KH1, he's Sora's rival, and at first it's sort of a friendly rivalry, like, you know, your usual, like, trying to impress the girls and stuff like that. But as soon as, like, you know, he thinks Sora doesn't care about them anymore, and sort of the darkness, you know, comes to engulf the island and all of that. Not in that order, by the way. That may be, the darkness came first. Maleficent manipulating him obviously came later, right? You know, he'll do anything to kind of save Kairi, even though he's pretty peeved at Sora in that moment, and obviously, you know, he, gets controlled and he's sort of our enemy for a while, but we can sort of see that even though he has obviously fallen into the darkness, that his intentions are sort of good. He wants to do anything he can to save Kairi, he's just sort of going the wrong way about it. And even in KH2 and 358 over 2 days, he'll do anything to wake Sora up, even fall back into the darkness that, like, he worked so hard to fight against in Recom. And then in 3D, it's kind of still about overcoming that darkness inside of him, you know, with him, like, seeing himself and, like, seeing young Xehanort and kind of getting taunted and, like, all of that stuff. I think it's, like, the Riku clone that talks to him. I think it's Prankster's Paradise, that cutscene happens, if I remember correctly. And I think that just continues to show that Riku will sort of do anything to save Sora, and it's always been about, you know, overcoming the darkness over and over again, to sort of save Sora, and that he would sacrifice, like, his light for Sora, right? And so next I think it's gonna be his life. And I think it's also sort of, like, used to convey that in KH1 and KH2 in 3D, and I think that even in 358 over 2 days, like, it's sort of like Riku was supposed to get the Keyblade, right? And I think that Riku now truly believes, because I think this is Roxas that says the line, actually, that it has to be Sora, right? But I think that Riku is starting to believe that too, and that it's Sora who will go on to save the world. And so if worse comes to worse, if it comes down between the two of them, you know, Riku would do what he believes is the right thing, whether it's right or not. I mean, that's up to the people, you know, that are playing the game, and also, right, Sora himself, you know what I mean? But I think that the game sort of echoes this, like with other characters saying that Sora is, you know, the one, right? Even though Riku was supposed to wield the Keyblade in the first place. And I think that, you know, Riku always puts himself in danger to save Sora, but every time he's come back, right? And so I feel like saving Sora has become more and more dangerous as the series has continued, and I think the games have been trying to tell us that. So first, you know, he has to fight Roxas, and, like, he almost loses, but then he transforms himself, right? So it's like, it was a kind of a close call, but not really. Then, you know, defending Sora against Xemnas and taking the blow, right? like, it was just sort of to his side, so he was okay. Like, he made it through, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like, it was a step up from Roxas, because before he could overtake Roxas, this time he actually, you know, like, got real hurt, right? He was limping on the beach and, like, just leave me here, Sora, leave me in the darkness, you know what I mean? So, like, you know, it kept getting more and more dangerous, sort of, as time goes on, and then diving into, like, you know, Sora's heart to sort of rescue him. Like, all of that, you know, was a danger that he sort of went through, and every time he had to, you know, survive it, and it's kind of been getting more and more dangerous. So I think that KH3 is, like, the time that Riku will kind of go in there thinking that it'll be okay, and it won't, you know what I mean? And I think this is sort of almost echoed by Yensid, because Yensid said that if not you, then most certainly Sora would do a reckless rescue of Aqua, and so it's almost like when Kairi says that Riku is becoming more like Sora, it could almost be like Riku is the one that does the reckless rescue this time of Sora, and that is how he will sort of die, you know what I mean? And so, like, I think that'll sort of be echoed in some final moments there, that, like, you know, Kairi's, like, said that, right, that he's becoming more like Sora, and then, you know, maybe Riku could be like, don't worry, Sora, like, I'm just glad that I did what you would do, you know what I mean? Like, something not that cheesy, but, like, you know what I mean, right? Just, like, something like that to kind of convey the fact that Riku has sort of, like, I don't want to say come full circle, but yeah, like, he's sort of come full circle from, like, you know, hating Sora to, like, being determined to wake him up to, like, giving his life to make sure that Sora can go on and continue, right? And I think this will be a very painful ending. I think that's why Nomura said it. I think somebody's gonna die, and so I just kind of want to talk about that for a second. So here's the other thing. This is the other sort of, I guess, piece of evidence that I'll use for this happening, or at least what confirms my prediction. Like, I don't know, like, obviously Nomura could have meant literally anything, right? He could have meant anything, but if he did mean, like, a permanent death, right? We know that Sora is gonna be in later games, so it's not him. We know that Axel just sort of came back, and so if they perma-defed him, like, it would kind of be a little weird, because, like, they just brought him back, you know what I mean? Like, it would be, I don't know, it wouldn't be as effective, and it would sort of be like, well, what the hell? Like, what did you do that for? You know what I mean? So, like, I feel like that doesn't work, you know, to kill off Axel, because he's already died, and now he's come back, so that already minimized the first time he died. Like, we don't need for, you know, for him to die again. And then you kind of have Kairi, I don't think is developed enough to die. Aqua, Terra, and Ven, I think that's a similar situation with them. We already sort of lost them at the end of Birth by Sleep, and so if they just died again, it wouldn't necessarily be so effective. Like, Riku and Kairi really are the only ones that haven't, I mean, I guess Kairi was, like, dead for a couple minutes. Like, she was just sleeping, you know, she didn't have her heart, it's okay, right? And I think that, you know, I guess Kairi, yeah, I don't think she's developed enough, personally. I don't think she's developed enough for them to just kill her off. But with Riku dead, that could leave, like, a hole for Kairi to sort of fill in later games, that now, like, Riku's gone, like, it's time for her to kind of, you know, pick up the torch and get going and do whatever she needs to do, I guess. You know what I mean? To kind of become Sora's, like, partner as they, you know, go off and save the world, you know what I mean? And I think that it would also sort of highlight a lot of different parts of the game, right? Aqua didn't want to give the Keyblade to Sora because she sort of figured that it would cause them to both, you know, fight with each other, just like Terra and her did, but then she can see that, like, you know, that sort of came true, like her sort of little, I don't want to call it a prophecy, but her prophecy there that something bad would happen, you know, if they both got the Keyblade, like, that sort of just come back to fruition, you know what I mean? And, like, I feel like then you could develop Aqua and Terra's character more, because Terra, I'm sure, already feels guilty about everything he's done, so you could also sort of make the argument that maybe, if Riku were to die, Terra and Aqua would both feel personally responsible, like they did it. You know, like, by giving Riku the Keyblade, or, you know, by, like, Aqua somehow, like, you know, feeling bad, I guess, about, you know, sort of I guess, for Terra, it's giving the Keyblade directly to Riku, and then for Aqua, it's like, she would feel bad because she knew it would happen and she couldn't stop it, sort of thing, and so I think that both of them would sort of feel guilty, in that regard, especially because Riku's gonna go save Aqua, right? So it would be even more guilty that Riku sort of, you know, risked his life to come save Aqua, and now he's just dead, right? In whatever case that happens. So I think that that's another thing. Like, there's a bunch of, like, I guess, points in the game where I could see it as foreshadowing. So again, that scene in Birth by Sleep, how Riku keeps, like, sort of getting himself in danger to try and save Sora, like, just all of those things, like, sort of point to, if Nomura's saying that we may not be able to take it, like, you know, that's the first thing that I think of. The other thing is that if he doesn't just die, you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of thinking that he may get controlled by Xehanort, like, they may pull a, like, oh, but Riku was a 13 darkness all along, you know what I mean? Like, not like that he's been evil, but that it's sort of like, I don't want to say like a Horcrux from Harry Potter, because I don't think that's necessarily, like, correct, but that, like, you know, in order for Xehanort to fully be defeated, Riku would also have to die, because there's still a piece of Xehanort in there, and so, you know, they have to do all that. So, tell me again what you guys sort of think of this. I sort of, you know, quickly came up with a script and with ideas for this, because I am sort of really excited about the prospect, but it's also kind of scary, because when they're like, hey, you guys may not be able to take the ending, like, obviously that has some interesting implications. So, again, I hope that you guys sort of enjoyed this video. Remember to comment down below telling me what you think, and if you guys want to support us, remember to join our Discord server by becoming patrons on Patreon, because both sort of help out the channel. So I hope that I'll see you guys later, and have a Kingdom Hearts day. Bye, guys.